Hello everybody, welcome back. First off, I want to apologize. We did the show last week. YouTube wouldn't get it on. Every time I tried uploading it, there was an unknown upload error, so it gave me nothing. We did the show. I wasn't being lazy, I promise. So you can cut out with the emails and the Facebook posts. I understand, I feel your pain. Nobody's more frustrated about it than me. Now, he wanted to be introduced. He was on it last week. This is LC. That's Nick Anderson.
Of course.
We're going to start off. We kind of didn't talk much about the NBA, so we're going to jump right into that. We have Chicago, Miami, who've had a long gap between their playing because apparently Oprah is bigger in Chicago than the NBA is for some reason. So like I'm saying, Chicago is won the first game at home, lost the second one, just beat them up in the fourth quarter in the first game, second game, just he took over.
Nick, I see the series playing out very favorably for the Chicago Bulls. I, like the rest of the sports community, hate the Miami Heat. I think they are villains. It's like if the Joker teamed up with Mr. Freeze and the Riddler to try to conquer basketball. But regardless, they don't have any henchmen to go with them. They're doing it all by themselves. Chicago has limitless scoring, deep rebounding. Carlos Boozer's running wild. Joakim Noah. I think Chicago Bulls will take care of the Miami.
Really?
Yeah, I think Chicago. They know what they need to do. They need to, the ball's in their court, as it were.
So Chicago in 5 from this side of the table.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
LC.
The biggest key to this series is going to be the rebounding. As we saw in Game 1, Chicago just destroyed the Heat on the boards, got so many second-chance points. And then in Game 2, Eric Spoelstra said, "Hey, I'm going to play Udonis Haslem, who hasn't played in about 10 years, and from injury." And he comes in, makes gives the Heat energy, gives them a lot of more balance, gave them some tough rebounds, and they squeaked that game out. But I don't know if he's that kind of player that's going to be stepping up every game for them like that. The Heat keep going small. If they do that, the Bulls are eventually going to out-rebound them every game. And, I mean, I think it'll go longer than 5. I think we'll probably see 6 games or so, but I like the Bulls in this series still.
I like the Bulls too. He has them. He came off the bench. He's huge, but his conditioning's got to be a factor. He can't. He's played for the first time probably in months. He can't keep that up. That's why I see the Bulls taking the series. And part of that's hoping too. I do not want Miami to win. All right, we're going to move past that. Dallas leads Oklahoma City 2-1. Dirk just been playing out of his mind this postseason. Last game, not too much, but over these playoffs, he's averaging 27.7 points a game, 7.6 rebounds, and shooting almost 51%. Now, in the NBA, you make your legend during the playoffs. That's when guys finally come out of their shell. That's when you look at people who are great. Do you finally see this playoffs being where Dirk puts his stamp on it?
I think you're seeing it, as you said with those stats. This is the year he's finally elevating that game to that MVP type level that he's been at before. He got him close in 06. They couldn't close out the Heat. He's had playoff disappointments in the past against Golden State. This year, he looks motivated. He's getting everyone involved. Even last time when he had a bad game, he gets Sean Marion involved. He gets Jason Kidd involved. I mean, they're playing very well, and they figured out a way to slow down Kevin Durant, slow down Russell Westbrook, and keep everything in their advantage in that series. I mean, this is their series to win. If they don't do it this year, this is it for the Mavs. They just can't keep going like this. The guys are starting to get old. This has got to be it.
Right, I was thinking the same thing as you were saying that, is that their window of opportunity is definitely closing. You got Jason Kidd, old. Dirk Nowitzki, 33, but he's been playing for 1,000 years. His knees can only hold it for so long. But he looks hungry. This is his year. I mean, he's got that great German willpower. He's hungry. He wants it. Dallas, I mean, Oklahoma City isn't going to go quietly into the night. I mean, they won game 2, but Dallas is just, I think Dallas is too much for him. Just like I think Chicago's bench is too much for Miami's bench. It's just too much going on, too much under the hood.
I agree with that. I do think this is Dallas's year. But we're going to move on past that. We're going to go to the NHL playoffs. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning, who just will not go away. We've talked about what they've done in the past quite a few times. But here's a team. They were down 3 goals the other day. Come back, win it. Now the series is now tied 2-2. Do you think Tampa's for real? Is Tampa going away?
I don't think that they're going away. No, I think that Boston is definitely. Boston almost seems like that champ that gets stunned by a punch and he doesn't really know what's going on. Kind of how Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. This is Boston's year. I mean, there's nobody left in the East that can really out-muscle them. Obviously, it's only down to them in Tampa. But the problem is they disappear on the score sheet sometimes. They jump out to a big lead and then they just kind of pump the brakes and they let teams back into the game. Tampa Bay can score from anywhere on the ice. They have 3 deep scoring lines with Sean Bergenheim running wild, Vinny LeCavier, Martin St. Louis. Stamkos shows up once in a while. He's always a threat to score. He's a good sniper, but still, it's a shame that Boston, this is their year and they're just falling apart.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tampa's going to be going away. I mean, they have, as you said, all three lines are scoring. I guess you might worry about Dwayne Rollison right now after he got chased early in Game 3.
It's one game.
I mean, yeah, it is only one game, but we'll kind of see where that goes. I mean, he's going to obviously start Game 5 when they come back to Boston. Yep. But the Bruins, they have to find that scoring, and they have to sustain their scoring. As you said, Tampa is scoring from everywhere. Boston's got to find a way to keep scoring with them.
All right, then we have the next series, Vancouver Canucks with the San Jose Sharkies. I know Nick's a big fan.
Big fan of the Sharks.
They're currently down 2-1. You got to talk about the Sharks last week, so we'll start again. Let's hear it.
The Sharks have got to stop trying to goon it up every time they get a chance with the Canucks. They can't take dumb penalties and put the Canucks on the power play. They're going to make them pay at some point in time. Roberto Luongo's got to be better. He's got to steal this series for the Canucks. He has to be the gold medal winning goalie for them.
Right, to be fair, Luongo wasn't very good because they were on the power play pretty much the entire first period when San Jose scored all their goals. I have bought and heavily invested in to the San Jose Sharks. I love Antti Niemi. Joe Thornton finally showing up in the playoffs. Up until the Tampa game yesterday, he was leading the league in playoff scoring, despite Jeremy Ronan calling him gutless. No, he called Patrick Marleau gutless, excuse me. But they're all showing up at the right times. I mean, Antti Niemi had a terrible game too. Todd McClellan, their coach, left him out there to dry. But he always bounces back after bad games, it seems like. It isn't a series until the home team loses. Home team hasn't lost a game in this series yet. So I still like San Jose winning this afternoon and hopefully pushing into game 6 or 7.
And I'd like to point out that his Facebook picture is currently Niemi.
Antti Niemi.
All right, we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick break and try something new. See you then. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to try something a little different. This week's show, it's not going to be any specific things we talk about, it's going to be a strictly debate. We have Brian Jackson and Matt Heslin back from the first show. And Brian, actually, when I want to start, I saw your Facebook talking about the Heat. Do you want to say something really quick about Nick and LC?
I just want to say that, they always say you shouldn't let feelings get involved in sports, how you're making decisions, stuff like that. And that's all they're doing. They don't like the Heat because they came together, boo-hoo, they're all superstars. Well, anyway, they're all in their mid-20s, so when you talk about bench depth, they don't need it because they can play 48 minutes a night, no problem.
All right. We're going to start with, I know a big topic that's going on right now. Seems like anytime somebody's out of the limelight or wants to write a new book, they think, I'll accuse Lance Armstrong of steroids. The newest one, Tyler Hamilton, actually turned in his gold medal because he admitted to cheating, and the second place guy got his medal back. Now I know you have strong opinions on this. Do you think Lance Armstrong did steroids?
I don't necessarily know that Lance Armstrong has taken steroids. I do believe that he has taken, it's a long name, we'll call it by its code word of EPO. Everybody in cycling. Cycling is probably the dirtiest sport in the entire world. Everybody at some point has been accused of being on EPO. There's a trail of test results of Lance Armstrong failing all the way back in the 2000s, and where there's smoke, there's fire.
Definitely. I mean, the last 12 winners or something have been accused or have tested positive in the Tour de France. I think it might be just the French are mad at us and they don't like when they don't win. We'll see, I guess.
Not even so, when Lance Armstrong, his blood samples were taken by a French lab and they didn't find anything then. You still think he was on the juice then?
The thing that's troubling to me is when your teammates start turning in. So he is either the biggest jerk in the entire world and his teammates all hate him and just want him to look bad, or he's actually taking stuff and his teammates are witnessing him do it.
I personally don't think he did. He's the most tested athlete, and nothing's come back saying he was on it. But we're going to digress, talk about Tyler Hamilton. He turned his gold medal. Let me ask you, you come in second place with the silver medal. How would you feel years after the fact they go, oh, here, you won, gave you the medal? Would you feel vindicated or anything like that?
Absolutely not. I mean, you don't get that rush of adrenaline when you actually win the event, and he's not doing that. Sure, he'll have something nice to put on his mantle, but who cares?
No, I'm with him on this. As a symbolic thing, I would honestly, upon receiving this gold medal, I would drop my pants and proceed to wipe myself with it. Is what I would do for the Olympic. It's just it doesn't make up for the fact that you still came in second. It's still in your mind you came in second. It doesn't. It does not. It doesn't. Language. We don't. No, I wipe myself.
Oh, sorry. All right. Moving past the wiping, we're going to go to Lakers. Phil Jackson retired. Now the names being tossed around: Mike Brown, who coached the Cavs; Rick Adelman, who was the architect of the Kings' nice run they had; Mike Dunleavy, and Lakers assistant coach Brian Shaw, who also just interviewed with the Golden State Warriors. Who do you think's the best fit?
Well, I think it's a joke if anybody's considering Mike Brown, considering that easygoing LeBron James, he couldn't even control that. What's he going to do if he gets Kobe? I definitely like Adelman. I mean, I like any coach going to LA that has a lot of coaching experience, because inevitably you're going to have big egos in playing for the Lakers, and you're going to need a coach that can control them.
Right, somebody just with a strong middle, somebody that can handle them, somebody with experience. And plus, Adelman runs the corners offense, which is really similar to the triangle, which the Lakers are already set up for, and it's going to be tough for them to get away from that with their current personnel.
Who gets it?
Probably Adelman.
I hope Adelman. I'm thinking Brian Shaw, though.
All right, kind of talking about Brian Shaw, moving past that. Jerry West was leaving the Lakers to go to the team Brian Shaw just interviewed for, the Golden State Warriors, as an advisor. Now, do you see this being a good move? Well, obviously, it's a good move, but do you see him be able to help the Warriors, who haven't been good for a while now?
Yes. This is what Jerry West does. Was that with Lakers for a while, engineered their run with Shaq and Kobe. Then he actually went up to Memphis for a while for that. Wasn't nearly as successful there, but he still got the foundation in place for the Memphis team that we saw this year. And then, obviously he's back in LA again, and, they're obviously successful there. With that, Golden State, that's what they need, talent development, and I think Brian Shaw will probably be getting that coaching job.
They got a lot of good pieces, they just need somebody to handle it.
So you think he'll be able to turn them around?
Maybe not turn them around, but they'll be better. They'll make the playoffs a few years in a row, and they have a great crowd. They got one of the best home court advantages in the league. They're going to do okay in the playoffs.
All right, now we have, going to college football, we have, as a Notre Dame fan, it's been troubling me the past two coaches. Notre Dame, after firing Charlie Weiss, they're now going to be paying him until 2015. Now, with how long they had to pay Tyron Willingham after he got fired, what do you think was the most expensive mistake? Not just wins and losses, but just in terms of the program as a whole.
Money-wise, I really have no idea. I don't know what the contracts look like, but Charlie Weiss, I think, has brought them, as far as recruiting and put them on a national level, I think Charlie Weiss helped them out a lot, so I'd say Tyrone Willingham was the more expensive mistake.
I'm a little nervous to ask your opinions, being a noted Michigan fan.
Yes, Charlie Weiss did a lot for the recruiting, but when they brought him in, he was an unproven commodity. You never knew he was unproven.
In college, yeah, but
he's never been a head coach.
Right.
There's a reason that he was never given head coaching opportunities, because when he was given a head coaching job, he took top talent, which is what Notre Dame was getting when he was there, and made them horrible.
well,
They were irrelevant the entire time he was there. That was a huge mistake. I mean, you can argue recruiting and say that, oh, he brought in the recruits. He didn't coach them up.
Yeah, that was his biggest thing. Now, real quick, moving up past that, that brings up another question. It seems like every time Bill Belichick, his coaching tree, you look down the people, it's not very impressive. Romeo Crennel failed. Charlie Weiss failed. Todd Haley failed. All these people, do you think, how is it? All these people learning under a great guy, how did they not do better?
shows how good the Patriots are. I mean, they have talent. If those guys had talent, maybe they do well.
Right.
I think it just speaks to how good of a coach Bill Belichick is. If he was able to do that much and these coaches are apparently subpar when they're away from him, it says that he probably does a lot.
All right, thank you guys. We're going to take a quick break, come back and do Pat's Piece. See you then. It's a difficult thing waking up to bad news, but when I woke up Friday, I looked at my phone and had 2 different texts telling me about how the Macho Man Randy Savage had died. As a big fan of wrestling growing up, that one hurt. Randy, real name Ralph Mario Poffo, was one of the wrestlers I loved growing up. From his high-flying style, his crazy ring attire, his ooh yes, and off-the-wall promos, he was one of the few wrestlers that non-wrestling fans would and still recognize to this day. Who else could get you pumped to snap into a Slim Jim? Savage has joined a long list of wrestlers who have died long before they should have. It's sad and scary that in the real world, 58 is considered young, but it seems for wrestlers, you're lucky to make 60. Macho Man, this one's for you. Rest in peace, Savage. This has been Scores, Goals, and Touchdowns with Mr. Pat. See you next week.